Plus, I have to teach myself 2nd grade math because, like, someone asked me to tutor their kid. So, I've been kind of busy, and I at least have something going for me in my life. But, yeah. Okay, let's continue. Yeah, seriously. Not only was Yasu slow-witted, that kid also lost stuff all the time. But even so, Yasu always had this look like someone else had taken whatever it was away. It really pissed me off. That kid just didn't know how to concentrate. If you always act in that dreamy way without thinking, it's no surprise that you'll do bad work.
But it was only like that in the beginning, right? After some time, that kid started concentrating and all that bad stuff stopped happening. Really? Well, it was all stuff that anyone should be able to do anyway. She's a little girl!
You bitch! Fuck you. Sorry, I'm sorry. I mean, you didn't get to hear any of my commentary, but I was angry at Kinzo. And Genji! Definitely Genji, oh my god. You didn't get to hear any of my rant because my voice was, the mic wasn't on because I'm an idiot. But I was kind of going off on some of the characters that pissed me off. Because I was mad. I was very mad. I might go on to another rant about it. Another time. Anyway.
Learning to do things that everyone can do is part of growing up. I doubt the rest of you were so clever about everything when you first started, yes?
Are you kidding? If we weren't clever, we'd never have been selected to work for the Ushiromiya family. We're supposed to be the elite. The fact that Yasu was young was no excuse. Fuck off. That's right. If Yasu was supposed to learn cleverness by growing up, then that should have been done before coming to work for the Ushiromiyas.
Come on. That kid worked really hard to balance school and work. I think you're all being too harsh. We were selected because we made it through a harsh process, right? There's no need for us to pamper Yasu.
I mean, we know that she's like not technically 6 anymore, but come on, she didn't go to school for like 3 for those years that she was actually supposed to go. Or I don't even know. Did she even get proper schooling before that time? Because like what the fuck Genji did? Anyway. Let me think. Okay. I'm sick of this. I don't get why someone as dull-witted as Yasu was chosen. Being selected as an Ushiromiya servant was an achievement that all the Fukuin children respected. The older servants had achieved glory by making it through a strict selection process. Yasu was so clumsy that they all wondered why that child had been chosen. Of course, Yasu was working very hard for a child of that age. However, before long, the unsatisfied older servants started being mean to Yasu whenever they got the chance. Even after getting used to life in Rokkenjima, Yasu didn't manage to make a single friend. At least, not any human friends. Chapter 3, Dazed and Raptured.
Yes, that's hands sometimes happen, and always when you're busy. Perhaps a fairy is pulling pranks on you. It's a witch pulling pranks on me. I mean, I knew I put it right there, and when I looked away for just a second, it had disappeared. The witch had pranked me again. I left my master key behind, and Madame found out, and I got in a lot of trouble. But I always put my master key in my pocket after I used it. Why was it in a place like that? And this is the 3rd time it's happened. The last 2 times I realized it wasn't in my pocket and managed to find it before anyone found out. But the 3rd time, Madame found it. I was really mad and frustrated with that witch in the red dress. Beatrice's pranks can be quite troublesome. But if you're dealing with a witch, shouldn't a ritual of some sort do the trick? A ritual? Kumasawa started fishing through the kitchen cupboard saying, "Now where did that get to?" The thing she finally found and brought to me was a kite string. She stretched it out for me to see and used a knife to cut off a 50-centimeter piece.
Try tying this to the end of the key, then tie the other end to your pocket or some other place that it doesn't stick out. This charm represents the ritual of the spider web.
A spider web? Like the old ones the evil spirits of Okanjima fear?
Good, I'm glad you remember. It's said that the spider webs on this island are imbued with magical power and that they can be quite effective for repelling evil. See, if you stretch it out like this, it looks like a spider web, doesn't it? This way, that spider web hitting Beatrice won't be able to prank you anymore.
That does make sense. It really does look like a spider web when pulled tight. Since Kumasawa says so, it must have some pretty strong evil magic repelling power. I can just ask her to make several of these kite strings for me, and then I can tie them to everything I don't want to lose. But, of course, that wouldn't be very practical. I'd have strings all over me. What about things I can't keep tied to me, like pencils and erasers?
For times like these, there's a different ritual. All you have to do is make a house for Mr. Pencil and Mr. Eraser.
Make a house? You mean build a roof and a bed and all that stuff?
You aren't actually building a house, you're giving them one. For example, take a knife I cut the string with. I want to go home. He's such a lonely kid that he wants to go home the moment he steps outside. So if you leave him anywhere else, he'll get lost and start crying. See, we just left Mr. Knife lying there and he got all lonely and started crying.
Poor thing. We have to get Mr. Knife home.
Mr. Knife's house is right here. See, his whole family of knives is waiting for him. Mama, I'm home. Welcome back. See?
Kumasawa returned the knife to the knife holder under the sink. Even though she'd done something so ordinary, I felt slightly moved, as though the lost little knife had finished his little adventure and finally gone back home. Once he slid into the spot he was supposed to be in, all the knives would be together and would have a party. Then Kumasawa said we should give them their privacy and shut the door.
The poor things hidden by the witch must get lonely easily. So when the witch tells them she'll take them somewhere fun, they're happy to go along with her. How can you stop them from doing this?
Take them home right away.
Exactly. They're lonely, naughty kids, so they'll go with the witch if they get the chance. So you must always take them home quickly. Look at that. Mr. Key you just tied to the string. He's sitting there all alone crying, asking you to put him into your pocket.
The voice of the lonely Master Key finally reached my ears, and I hurried to pick it up and took the other end of the string and tied it to my pocket button and put the key in my pocket.
See? I'm home! Mr. Key gets lonely so easily, so let's take him home right after we use him, okay? If you keep making little friends like this, even Beatrice won't be able to prank you much longer.
My break time was over and I stood up to see what I should help with next. I felt a tug and the key ring with the master key fell to the floor. Once again, I had left the master key on the side of the sofa and forgotten it was there. The instant I stood up, the string pulled on it and fell to the floor. Without Kumasawa's spiderweb charm, I probably would have left that master key lying here again. The master key left all alone would have been led away by the witch and disappeared. That was close. And once again, I heard the master key, who'd always been left on its own, cry and tell me that it wanted to go home. I'm sorry. Come on, let's go back home to my pocket. Yay, I'm home! Thank goodness. I almost got pranked by the witch again.
Oh, what's this? What an amusing notion, using string like that.
All of a sudden, I heard a wild and shocked voice from over my shoulder. It was that voiceless voice, a witch's voice, the kind you can't hear unless you try. Beatrice?
That's me, my friend. You forget about your key again, and just when I was about to tease you a bit.
It's a spiderweb charm that Kumasawa showed me. Apparently it does its job well.
Indeed. I hate to admit it, but it does. I certainly wouldn't want to touch that. After all, you wouldn't want to put your finger on a razor and slide it across, would you?
That's a scary example. My finger hurts just thinking about it.
But good for you. You didn't want to get yelled at by Natsu for losing your key again. You should be thanking me.
Why?
Because I annoyed you, you learned of that ritual correct. Thanks to that, you've managed to avoid the screw forgetting where you left your key once again. In other words, it's all thanks to me. Don't I deserve some gratitude?
I really don't like it, but she does have a point. Because of all the trouble Beatrice caused me, I talked to Kumasawa and learned the ritual from her. Even without the witch's pranking, if I didn't have that ritual, I would have gone to my next job and left the master key here. If that happened, then surely I wouldn't have been able to find the key and it would have been a big mess.
We call this punishment to make an example. By magnifying your mistakes, I've shown you what they are as a friend. Don't you see how much you've grown?
I get the feeling is Kumasawa is the one I should be thanking, not you.
My, what a thankless job we witches have.
Anyway, I win this time. Okay, I need to get back to work now.
Very well, my friend. We'll call this your victory. However, I'm bad at giving up. I'll keep watching you even more closely now until I can even the score. Prepare yourself. There are still several small items that a person like you is likely to forget. You can't attach strings to all of them.
The spiderweb ritual isn't the only one I have. I also learned the take them home ritual. I won't let you have your way anymore.
Let's see how well you actually do. Even so, that's quite the bright smile you've got there. When a witch appears, it should be time to cry, not laugh. Your break time is over. See if you can manage to do your job today without slowing down the other servants.
Sure. Today is Sunday and the weather is wonderful. I'd better do my best.
Indeed. Go to it with all you can manage. Oh, that's right. Sano's been in a bad mood all morning. You'd better try to avoid eye contact with her. Also, your fortune for the day is water hazard. Make sure you take care when standing near buckets of water. This is you we're talking about. I'll be waiting for you to knock over a bucket and get scolded just like usual.
Oops. Wait, this is her line. Thank you, Beatrice.
Back when I still couldn't see her, I simply hated this prank-loving witch. But now I could talk with her and it felt as though she wasn't all bad. Of course, there was no need for me to be grateful to her. To the witch called Beatrice, who despises boredom, mocking the misfortune of others, is like what eating food is to us. Humans and witches are different. Incompatible beings, and yet, it felt as though we could become friends. Of course, she's still a witch. I mustn't get careless. And yet, not being careless is a good thing. Thanks to the tricks and ritual I used to keep her at bay, I'm able to concentrate. That could hardly be a bad thing. Those things will be useful for my job and my life, even when I don't have to worry about the witch's pranks. I see. So this witch called Beatrice really is like a demon. Apparently, it's possible to build up a friendship even while speaking hostilely to each other.
Ever since then, there was an incredible change in that kid.
Because of all the rituals?
That's right. That child was quite faithful when it came to obeying rules, and flawlessly followed all the rituals I taught. You mean by attaching strings to everything? And by doing that going home thing all the time? Yes, that kid would sometimes say it out loud. It was really cute, like watching someone play house with a bunch of tools.
Just like a kid!
But they were a kid, right? With adults, you can say one thing one way and all of them will understand. However, there really are many different types of kids, and you need many different ways to teach them things. If you can find just the right way, they'll learn quite easily. Some kids learn better when they're punished, and some learn better when they're praised. I used to scare a neighborhood kid and tell him a fairy would take his things if he didn't keep good track of them. This was the same, except the fairy became a witch.
Still, doesn't that sound like fate? After all, you knew this kid was Beatrice's child, didn't you?
Yes, I did know.
It must have been strange to tell Beatrice's child that the witch Beatrice would play pranks on you unless you put your stuff away neatly.
When the child came and told me that a witch was stealing things and pulling pranks, it made me think. I took it as a sign that the late Beatrice had become a witch and was coming to teach her child to keep track of things. That's why I thought this was the best way to teach that child.
That kid started out with a bad reputation for forgetting and losing things, but got a lot more cheery after overcoming those bad habits.
By surpassing weaknesses, those weaknesses become strengths, and that is how people gain confidence and grow up. Those small spurts of growth made me feel as if this was my own grandchild.
I love this song. It's far flat.
Thank you, Genji.
Good work with the big cleanup today. We never know when an important guest might come and borrow one of the rarely used rooms. It is important that you do not slack off in your cleaning.
Of course! All of us are fully aware of this fact.
I hope that is the case. When I looked around, I found this. Whose is it?
Genji took a master key ring out of his pocket. Apparently someone had dropped their master key. All the servants swung around to look at me, the usual offender.
Come on, Yasu! Again!
You shouldn't be so quick to judge.
I have mine, of course. There's no way I'd drop something that important. And the rest of you?
I have mine. I got it!
So was you, Yasu! Do you still not get it even after that scolding Madame gave you? You're just so... Normally, I would cower and apologize under their glares, whether I was guilty or not. However, I've changed. So I proudly held up the key with the string still attached. Oh, a device to keep yourself from dropping it. A commendable precaution.
Genji's face was expressionless as ever. However, those were unmistakably words of praise. That's right! You won't drop them anymore. After all, you have your ritual now. That's right.
I nodded proudly, a huge smile on my face. The proud experience of that day, of that moment, would be engraved to an unforgettable page in the memory of my young life. So whose key did Genji find? There was only one servant who hadn't raised their key. As she muttered,
Hold on. There was only one servant who hadn't raised their key. As she muttered, it has to be Yasu's key, not mine, and fished in her pocket. Her face went pale.
You mustn't slack off, even when doing your everyday tasks. But everyone makes mistakes from time to time. I will not press the point, but blaming your teammate instead of reflecting on your own actions is not something I would consider praiseworthy.
My apologies. The older servant turned red and hung her head. Behind her, though no one else could see it, was the witch.
My friend will not make the same mistake again. After all, even though I've always got my eyes on this kid, I can never find a chance to try anything. But it's a shame. If this girl here has lost her key, I should have tried breaking her long ago.
Please don't break other people other than me. Huh? Did you say something? No, nothing.
I tried not to feel vindictive, but after being called Dulwood for so long, I was finally able to hold my head up high. On that day, for the first time, I truly felt as though I had gotten used to life as a servant of the Ushiromiya family. When people compliment you, it feels like they've acknowledged you. It's very important. People can't grow without it.
And what happens when people grow?
First, it becomes possible for them to find some leeway. Jobs that used to make them feel scared and made them feel worried about whether they were doing things the right way or not can be carried out with confidence. That's right! When things becomes easy, that gives you some latitude.
And what happens next?
It gives you a chance to enjoy your time more. As Genji might say, it gives you time to relax your mind. And if you're tense all the time, that just wears you out. It's good to take it easy for a bit if you can.
You mean you learn so much that you can start slacking off on the job?
It sounds bad when you put it that way. However, there's nothing wrong with cleverly carrying out your tasks quickly and using your free time to enjoy yourself. Times like that are what enriches a human's life. Come to think of it, Goda plays crosswords a lot between jobs. He also invents dishes with leftover ingredients. Playing a bit and refreshing yourself can also be good for your efficiency. You might say that inventing dishes combines work and play. Even Genji slacks off when no one's looking. He'll always watch TV or swipe some of his master's drink, and he reads complicated books.
Even Genji?
In short, it's all about cleverly using the gaps between jobs to play. If it goes too far, it can turn to laziness. However, people only become mature when they learn to balance work with pleasure. Simply put, if all you do is care about work all the time, then you're not fully mature. So that kid learned how to play between jobs? Oops, wrong voice.
So that kid learned to play between jobs?
It's hard to imagine that overly serious kid slacking off at work. It started with learning how to interact with people. That kid formed a relationship with Kumasawa, the person who was always kind, and started borrowing books from her and talking together about them. Even I had friends at school, but because of my work, there was no chance to deepen our friendship. Jessica was always kind and modest, but there was Natsuhisa in order to think of, so we couldn't play together much. So at that time, Kumasawa, the one who was always as kind as a mother to me, was the person I felt closest to. Kumasawa was old enough to have grandchildren. They couldn't exactly run around and play together. He developed an interest in Kumasawa's hobby.
And what about Kumasawa's hobby?
Books. It might be hard to believe, but Kumasawa was a huge mystery novel fan. So the kid wanted to find out what sorts of books they were and started reading them? That's right. The nice thing about mystery novels is that you can talk about them while you read them. Even Kumasawa, who already knew the answer, must have enjoyed listening and hearing what sort of theories a young intellect could create. Of course, I didn't start right away with the complicated books Kumasawa read. First, I asked for her recommendations and got books from the school library. I would even bring them into the servant room and read a bit during every break. Every time a new theory popped into my head, I told Kumasawa about it, and she, who already knew the answer, would nod at my theory and grin. That was a lot of fun for me.
Are you going to take a bath? Bath time's almost over. Yeah, just a bit more. Another one of the Indian figures just disappeared. You've become a totally mystery nut. If you get too excited reading, you won't be able to sleep again. According to Kumasawa, the culprit's already appeared, but I don't have a clue who it is. What's the book called? It's by Agatha Christie, and then there were none. It's really interesting. Almost like a crime happening on Rokenjima. That's a really famous mystery novel, isn't it? Wasn't that the one perfect crime at least until the culprit confesses the truth in the mystery ball at the end? An incredible book. Shh! Shh! I'm enjoying myself, so don't spoil me. Go and take a bath now. I'll go by myself later. Okay. See you later then. Don't forget to take a bath, okay?
Okay.
Holding a change of clothes, Shannon smiled amusingly as she left the room. I probably won't be able to read the whole thing tonight, even though I know that I just keep turning the pages unable to find a good place to stop. My new joy, the mystery genre, the mental game of thinking and theorizing, and also talking about it with Kumasawa, All that left me enraptured.
It would seem you've become a complete bookworm. Well, if you do stay up and get sleepy, that just makes my job easier.
We can't have that. I better find a place to stop soon.
In the ancient times I was born in, pleasures such as mystery novels didn't exist. I've been reading over your shoulder, and this is truly a captivating read.
Beato, who do you think is the culprit?
And then there were none.
Yeah, who is this UNON, I wonder?
The culprit who lured the victims to the island, of course.
There are no more than 10 people on this island, and UNON doesn't exist.
Someone must have stranded them on the island and waited somewhere far away for them to die of starvation.
No, that's not right. He or she is on the island, and they're the one of the 10 people. I just don't know who.
How do you know that there are only 10 people on the island?
That's just how it is. Since if you doubt that, you're stuck, or it's just a standard rule of the mystery genre, or...
The culprit owns the island, correct? They may be hiding in some hidden room. Or perhaps they're just like me. They may be a 1,000-year-old witch. No. If they went to such lengths to kill a mere 10 people, they couldn't be 1,000 years old. 495 years old at the best, I'd say.
Closed rooms do appear a lot in mystery novels, and books often use the phrase, "it could only been conceivably done with magic." And here I am with a witch right before my eyes. It's a complicated feeling.
Very entertaining, these closed room murders. Once you read the answer, it becomes a tale of humans or a mystery novel. But if you take out the part that reveals the answer, it becomes a tale of witches or a fantasy novel.
That's an interesting way to look at it. So, there's only a tiny difference between human novels and fantasy novels?
If a trick exists, it becomes a human novel. If there isn't one, it's a witch's novel. Simply take out the last few pages of that book you're reading, and you might think of Lady UNON as a witch of the same level as myself.
That might be surprisingly wise coming from you. So, the culprit of an answerless detective novel is a witch.
All the dark places in this world belongs to us witches. So I could reign as the culprit for all detective novels across the world.
Except if you reason it out and find the true answer, then the witch is done for.
These detective novels can be quite intriguing, it seems. This looks to be a truly entertaining thinking game.
That's right. This is a thinking game. You fight against the book and make a theory, and compete against friends who've also read the book.
Perhaps, but it's also a fight between humans and witches. Will you allow for or deny the magic of my closed room murders? Call it a chess match of mystery.
So it isn't a book I'm reading, but a challenge against you.
Indeed. As Shadow said a short while ago, this story apparently has the truth revealed by a message ball at the end. So if you can't expose the truth of the tale before that point, you lose. After all, the message ball just happened to drift somewhere that could be seen. If it got smashed and sank before anyone saw it, this would be a perfect crime. Or in other words, a witch's crime that's impossible for humans.
That's a fun way to look at it. A fight between me and the witch. Yeah, I really like thinking of it that way.
Starting now until you finish reading, I am Lady Yoen, the 495-year-old witch. Can you see through my deserted island murder tricks?
I do have one theory. You want to play with me, don't you? I've been reading books so much you've gotten lonely.
That too.
Incidentally, the game Beato and I played around and then there were none ended with my defeat. In the end, I wasn't able to build a satisfying theory and I had to learn the truth in the message bottle. Luckily, it did manage to drift into human hands. If it had sunk to the bottom of the ocean as Beato suggested, I would have no way of knowing the truth. In other words, I was forced to acknowledge UNON as a witch. Mystery. Once I thought it was just a genre for novels, I think it can easily become a fight between witches and humans, truth and fantasy. I was instantly enraptured by this new game. As months passed by, I read through all the mystery novels in the school library and started reading mystery novels for adults.
I discussed them with Kumasawa. I discussed them with Shannon. I played my game of theory chess, the fight between witches and the truth. Those days were so much fun. Oh, I am one yet many. Here's to the fun game of the mind that enraptured me. My mic is actually on, and I'm not fucking stupid like I was when I did my last Umineko read-through, which I will have to reread because I am a dumbass. Oh, I'm so stupid. Okay. What else do I wish to say? Yeah, but yesterday, my parents were blasting music. They do that. They do that as if they were at a party, but they don't even go to parties. And then, okay, so I had a job interview last week, and it's my first time in a long time. So, okay. I mean, okay, let's just be honest. I actually do a lot of job interviews, but I haven't gone outside to do anything that requires, like, I don't go off outside for a long period of time that often anymore. So doing that is just like a mental overwhelm and a mental stress for me. So if I fuck up, that's why I messed up, okay? That's why the last one didn't have any audio and I'm gonna have to go back and read it again. But it's okay, I love episode 7. I'll just reread it as many times as I need to if I screw up. It's one of my favorites, but yeah, also, I finally, I watched some Umineko videos that other people recommended me, and I finally got to watch all the Umineko stage play, which is awesome. I love that. Yes. Hold on, I have to do one more thing before we begin. Okay. But yeah, I'm sorry I screwed up. And there was no audio in that one stream. Okay, last week was hectic because I was also like, I suddenly got like this out of, I don't know, when it comes to me and having to deal with my personal life issues, like getting a job or something, and like dealing with the people who I have to go through people I live with to get a proper job that I would want. It's ridiculous. Actually, I don't even think I don't know if I talked about it, but I had like, I had to deal with some job drama with my parents. I had to go through them, and they blew up. I don't know if I mentioned that because like I have been on and off with the streaming. I'm sorry. I mean, it's not like I have a life, but whatever. I mean, I don't really, but oof. But yeah, a lot of shit happened last week. But oh well, okay. So things should be somewhat normal. But if anything ever goes whatever, and if I'm not always streaming or something, it's probably because of personal life stuffs. Trust me, my only life commitment right now is reading visual novels. Because that's all I love to do. Particularly when they cry ones. I figured out how I might be able to stream Higurashi and how I might be able to stream Kikonia though. Not all of it because like Ryukishi won't approve of that. I think like on other times, I'll be like recording myself and then I'll play it, and then like whenever people want to talk to me, I'll just like pause it and talk to them. Sure. Cause like apparently Steam has this thing where you have to log in. If you log into through another laptop or a computer, like it doesn't feel happy when I do that, and I have to wait a couple of days. And I don't know, that transfer sounds troublesome because I have like 2 laptops, but that one is an older laptop, like it's older than this one. But yeah, all right. Let's continue. Sorry that I've been very inconsistent. My apologies. Anyway,